Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah.
Never lose hope in your Lord. Times I was lost in my thoughts, but what do you get from stress that's good for your health? Tell me, cause I wanna know more.
You know what they say? It's like, it's lonely at the top. I'm nowhere at the top, but I'm a little lonely. Okay, this sounds like I'm not like that lonely, but I'm a little lonely, okay? First things first, I gotta always mention this. Whatever you watch every single day, whatever you hear, whoever you are around on a repeated basis every single day, they will determine, like, not they will determine, because Allah determines everything, but you will end up becoming like them. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, you will take upon the religion of your khalili, of your best friend. You know how like some people, like when they meet up with like a friend group and that friend group is particularly not good for them, like that friend group is literally like doing drugs, or that friend group is doing bad habits, and you know, like there's parents out there that are very cautious of that, you know, like they don't want their children to be with this group or this group or this, you know what I mean? So there's always like the bad group in school. If you mix up with those bad groups, you end up becoming sort of like them. Like you end up smoking, or you end up drinking, or end up doing zina, and you end up just chasing, you know, whatever this friend group does, you become like them, right? And if another friend group like does crime, like you have a higher inclination of doing so. So needless to mention, what I want to tell you is you will become the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with, but that doesn't only mean hanging around with them. Like that could also mean the stuff you watch online. If you watched it on a repeated basis, and if you really subscribe to what they're saying, you will become like them. They will influence you with the qadr of Allah. And so, as I want to mention, by the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're not just gonna do your bad habits. You're not gonna just, you know, follow your friends' desires. Like, you know, that's not the only thing. You're gonna take upon the religion of your best friend, bro. Now, religion is something that's very, of course, deep. It resonates with people, and it's a big deal. Like some people could catch a bad habit if another friend does it, but religion, yeah, religion. You will take upon the ideologies. If you hang around with atheists all day, that's why we have something called ex-Muslims. I just had to throw it out there. Alhamdulillah, ever since I came to Canada at the age of 9 back in 2013, I remember it was March. I had zero, like absolute zero English skills, bro. It was March 31st, 2013, bro. I went out the airplane. I came out the airplane. It was early in the morning, and it wasn't early in the morning. I think it was afternoon. Whatever, I forgot. And wallahi, I saw snow for the first time. So I was just like, what the heck is this white stuff coming? Like, you know, like I'm so confused, right? Just snow, right? And then the ground, it's so cold, bro. I never experienced that cold before. And after a couple days, I got into my first school, my elementary school. Again, no English. All I knew how to answer was, what's my name and how old am I? I don't think I even know how to do that. And hi, hello. That's all I knew. So I went to my school, and of course I didn't really talk to anyone. Of course, I didn't know, right? And all of a sudden, this one guy comes to me, right? He comes to me and he just asks me like, what's your name? So I'm like, there, I don't know how to speak. I'm just like, my name is MD Rhinos. Like I said my full name instead of saying like my name is like Mahi or my name is Rayan, which is my actual name, by the way. For those that are wondering, Mahi is just my nickname. But like instead of saying any of those two, I just said my name is Mohammed Rhinos. Like I said my full name, my full name. And they was like, oh okay, let's go. Like, and then they called me like, you wanna come and let's go play? And I'm just like, what the heck? That's kind of weird. Right? The first day, I think it was the first day or second day, I already made some friends, and then that one friend that came up to me, he has another friend, and they both were Muslim, bro. And that what is amazing is that throughout my journey, most of my friends, I would say 90% of them were Muslim. I was around Muslims. So alhamdulillah, I was grown up in this space of, like, you know, I was going to madrasa, which is like an Islamic sort of, like, they teach you Arabic letters, and they teach you how to read the Quran, and they teach you like basic rulings of Islam, and, you know, basic biographies of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And, you know, I was always around that sort of space. I was in the masjid for 2 hours a day for 5 times a week. So like I was in that space. But I've also went through friend groups that took me out of that sort of space when COVID-19 hit. And I'll get to that later. Not right now. Before I actually get to when they are not your friends, because that was an experience. I actually ended up cutting off most of my friends. As you may know, I ended up cutting most of my friends off. Like in the last 2 years, I remember it was, I think, during Ramadan. I was sitting outside because it was like getting hotter outside. So I was sitting outside, I was doing some work, and I get a message from my friend. He's just like, yo, let's go out. It's been so long. And by the way, these guys are amazing. Like they're great people. I knew them for 5, 6, 7 years, bro. Like most of my best friends, I knew them for 5+ years. So, you know, they're close, right? And he's like, let's go out. And he's been, you know, asking me to come out, like to have some fun or whatever for the last like 2 weeks. And I've always just replied saying, nah, bro, I can't, I'm busy. You know what I mean? So this time I'm like, I gotta tell him the truth. So I messaged him and I told him like, bro, we need to work. We need to grind. We need to have a purpose, bro. And I feel like we just didn't connect. I just feel like, even though like, of course, I'm sure he wants to work hard and I'm sure he wants to grind as well. But for me, I didn't want to go out and just do random stuff. Like, I didn't want to waste time. I wanted to use my time and I wanted to just not seek pleasure all day. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to do something. I'm not saying that they do that, but what I am saying that I needed to like put my head down and just grind. I can't be just going out and just like, you know what I mean? Just doing random stuff with no meaning. And there's probably some meaning to that. Like, there's friend groups that we're bonding over, we're connecting. But I just felt like the cons were more bigger than the pros, you know what I mean? So when they are not your friends, those types of friend groups you need to stay away from. People that just chase instant gratification all day are not your friends, bro. I'm sorry, I don't know how we can explain this to you. Like, okay, there's one thing, like they chase instant gratification all day and they do it themselves, but like they push it onto you. That's what I mean. So like things like going outside for like no reason, like you're just there like trying to chase girls or like, you know, doing random stuff like that. I mean, that's one red flag. I mean, like, why would you chase girls when you have nothing built up? Of course, Islamically speaking, we shouldn't be chasing girls. I'm just saying as a general term. Number two is that these friend groups, these like the guy or, you know, like your friends, they don't really have a purpose. Like they don't really follow a purpose. They're not ambitious. They don't have goals. They don't want to push themselves every single day. They don't take their days seriously. That's another red flag. They don't take their day seriously. You know, the people that like, oh, YOLO, I'm gonna do whatever I want, like all this stuff. They don't take life seriously, and you don't want to be around those people because those people are generally dangerous. The people that say YOLO, I'm gonna just have fun, those people are generally dangerous and they will ruin your life. And I don't recommend you being anywhere near them. And if they are your friends, then I would advise them, try to give them some level of da'wah. But even if they don't listen to that advice, I would stay away from them without being rude. There's, I think, a way to do that, which is I'm just gonna grind, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. Again, this is just human biology. People don't like it when you leave their tribe. I'm sure my family, you know, they're gonna not like it if I marry outside my culture, which is the plan, right? Like if there's like an Arab wife that's watching, I'm kidding. Like families don't like that because you're going outside of their tribe, you know what I mean? Like, because we're all tribal people, we're all like, you know, we like to bundle up together, and so they don't like that. But that doesn't mean that it's like that tribe could be bad for you. You know, that little group could be bad for you. So you have to do what's right. And I would say the third friend red flag, and when they're really not your true friends, is that they don't push you. And they don't push you every single day. Like, I would want a friend where if I'm not doing my work, if I'm not focusing on my purpose, if I'm not pushing my body every single day, I want them to call me out. I want them to tell me, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing, bro? Like, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing for 16 hours out of the day that Allah has given you to stay awake? What are you doing? Like, I want them to call me out, and that's the same way. And if they're not calling you out, maybe they don't really care as much about you. Maybe they're just there for smiles. So because of all of that, you know, I decided to end up cutting off my friends. I just felt like I had a different sort of purpose. You know, I didn't want to just have fun all the time. I actually wanted to work and I wanted to grind. And I feel like I needed that. Like that disconnect, because the moment I disconnected from my friends, sure, it was hard being lonely a little bit, I would say so, but what it also turned out to be was that now I'm not being influenced, which I mentioned at the start. Influence, bro, I'm not being influenced anymore now. Like, I'm just on my own and at that time I wasn't super practicing on my deen, so like I wasn't necessarily, like remembering Allah every single day. Like I didn't have that taqwa, like that God consciousness, that fear of Allah, that love of Allah also. I didn't have that taqwa. But what I had was I was just on my own, and now I wasn't being influenced. There's so many people that I know, and there's so many people that I've saw, is that they want to do something, like they want to do something, they want to change their lives, they want to improve, but their friend group holds them back. Friend group takes them back. The friend group thinks, and they're scared of what their friend group would say. Like these people are just like, but what if they call me like Andrew Tate or something, like something dumb, like the friend group holds them back because they have a certain identity with that friend group, and they're scared to leave. They're scared to leave that tribe, as I mentioned. There's so many people that want to change, but they just end up not doing it. A lot of it because their friend group is like locking them down. You know what I'm saying? But pretty much at this point, I had nothing really changed. Like I wasn't being influenced, and I just wanted to be successful. I wanted to put my head down and just work. I didn't want to chase fun all the time and just do random stuff. In my opinion, of course, they might look at it in a different way, or they might be different now. I'm not trying to make fun of them. I think they're great people. They're amazing people, but yeah. So this is pretty much where we get to the juice. This is how I cope with sort of being kind of halal loneliness, I would say. There's a very, famous narration from Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, and he was a companion, very strong companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this companion said something along the likes of, and you can check the actual narration, but this is just a summary of what he said, which is, it's better to be alone than with bad people. It's better to be alone than with bad people. And it's true. It's better to be alone than with bad people until you work yourself up, until you get the better people. You know what I mean? Like, it's better to be alone than be with bad people. And this comes back to the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ahzab, or Az-Zumar, sorry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Az-Zumar, verse 36, which he says, is Allah not sufficient for his servant? Allah's asking me and you a question. Is Allah not sufficient for his servant? Is Allah not sufficient for me and you? And then I realized that in order to sort of cope, but I don't want to say cope, but it's sort of coping. In order to stay in this sort of life where you don't really connect with anyone, like, there's people that are like, around you, and maybe right now you're on deen, maybe right now your iman is high, maybe right now you're praying your salahs and you're reading your Quran and you're doing many Islamic acts, and you are more focused on the akhirah rather than the dunya. But then the people around you, they're so sort of dunya focused despite being Muslim, and you try to give them da'wah and stuff like that, and they hear you, but then you feel like you're not really connecting with these people. That is normal, and that's why we need to have that wallahi, that connection with Allah that is like none other. It's not a coincidence that Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam or Prophet Musa alayhi salam, they spent most of their time being alone. Especially Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, everyone knows his story with Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. How he, his son was taken away from him at a very young age. Yusuf alayhi salam was taken away from Yaqub alayhi salam, and Yaqub alayhi salam spent years and years just praying to Allah, doing a salahs, making dua. So just imagine that connection with Allah. Because imagine you're just, for most of your day, you're just making dua and you're reading salah, and you're worshipping Allah, like that one-to-one bond. You know what I mean? Or Musa alayhi salam, where you would have direct communication with Allah, and he would be just walking by himself, talking to Allah and making dua and being grateful and all of this stuff. You know what I mean? So just having that one-to-one connection with Allah is what a mu'min has, and I feel like we haven't really achieved that level. Maybe there's some days where we just feel that love, like that connection with Allah, but a lot of the days we don't. A lot of the days we don't really have that taqwa. So the goal is to build that connection with Allah. Because is Allah not sufficient? Allah's the one who provides for you. Allah is the one who gives everything. Allah is the one who planned out your entire life ahead of you. Everything has been planned out to the T. So why would you not have the one-to-one connection with the one who made you? That's what purpose is. This is what prioritizing your purpose is. Prioritizing Allah. This is something that me and you have to really work on. And just to end off, I was at a halaqah last Saturday, and it was a very good halaqah, subhanAllah. They talked about 99 names of Allah, and it was like one name per week they went through. So the last Saturday, they went through Al-Wahhab, which is one of the names of Allah. And Al-Wahhab means the bestower, like the giver. Like he will give you without anything in return, like without asking for anything in return. And if you think about it, Allah is that. Like he gives without asking anything back. Imagine, and this was what the Sheikh said in a halaqah. Imagine, right? One of your friends came up to you and you like your friend and you give him gifts or whatever, right? And this friend all of a sudden starts like swearing at your mother. Like, your mother is a... You know what I mean, right? So imagine you just this guy like randomly just starts swearing at your mother, and he starts like swearing at you, and then like whatever. I'm sure that you're not gonna give him a gift ever. I'm sure you're not gonna give him anything after that. I'm sure you're not gonna support him after that. If he doesn't apologize. But yet we disrespect Allah, we miss salahs, we do stuff that's displeasing to him, and yet he still continues to give us. That's kind of weird. Why? Because he is the most merciful. He's Al-Wahhab. He will give you. Allah doesn't need anything from us, except Allah just says, just pray your salahs, just worship me, as that's your only purpose. And yet we can't do the most basic salahs. This is why we need to build a connection with Allah, because He's the one who always gives. He's the one who always sends on provision, risk. He's the one who always does everything. He's the one who always wills everything. I think when Allah isolates a person, it's so that that person can build that connection with Allah. Like if me and you are right now, we're isolated from most people. Like we don't have, like we might have friends, but not friends. You know what I mean? I think at this moment, we need to put our time towards building the connection with Allah. And I think one of the best ways of doing that is seeking knowledge, seeking ilm. I came up with this. Okay, this sounds arrogant. I don't want to be arrogant, but like I sort of made up this quote yesterday, like this quote, like this saying. At randomly, which is, so how in the gym you have to, like when you're working out and you're trying to build muscle, one of the things that will build your muscle is protein, like eating protein. Remember the diet, like in the gym, like you're working out, diet is like 70% of most of your gains. Imagine you're just eating a lot of protein, right? And the more protein you eat, the more it strengthens your muscle and the more it builds your muscle. The same way I like to look at it, knowledge, Islamic knowledge is the protein of the believer. The more Islamic knowledge you feed your iman, you feed your heart, you feed your brain, the more stronger your iman gets and the more your iman grows. You know what I'm saying? So seek knowledge. I think that's something that's amazing. I'm gonna leave a link in the description for this free 2-year Islamic course. I'm not sponsored, but for those that are wondering, I signed up to it, and they'll teach you, like it's by Zad Academy, right? So if you saw like Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim, by the way, like he's part of that Zad Academy, right? There's also many other scholars that are part of that. So Zad Academy, they're doing like a free Islamic course, and it's amazing, bro. It's like for 2 years. I don't know if I'm able to like just share out to the public. I think I am. I'm gonna leave the link in the description down below if you guys want to join for like a 2-year course. I think the enrollment's coming up soon. It's for free, by the way. So the age group is like 16, by the way. Like 16 is a minimum age, so take that for what it's worth. But yeah, so this is how I sort of cope with being lonely: building that connection with Allah, seeking knowledge, and just focusing on my purpose, focusing on what I have to do. We are so much better. We're so much more destined. Like we have something to focus on. We have something to push for, bro. We have like this goal to push for, and wallahi, this moment of loneliness, in a way, this moment of being alone, it will pay off, because a couple of years later you're going to be so much more successful in this dunya, and inshallah the akhirah as well. And not just that, but you'll be attracting, with the qadr of Allah, you'll be attracting more people. And I'm not talking about like manifestation, but I'm just talking about like you'll be attracting better people because you are better yourself. And so other people will see your qualities, they'll see your achievements, they'll see you, and then they'll see, okay, this guy has something in him. So a lot of this stuff people will start to see the more you improve yourself. So, and then you're gonna look back a couple of years later, you're gonna look back at this moment, you're gonna be like, yeah, damn, that hard work, like it went through with the qadr of Allah. It worked with the qadr of Allah. And then you'll realize that everyone sort of needs to just focus, put their head down, and just do their purpose. And the purpose of this channel for the subscribers that watch this channel is to be the warrior of Allah. And now what does that mean? That means to wake up every single day, to remove and to get rid of the distractions, that bad habits that are destroying you every single day, because you're better than that, and to focus on being the best version of yourself. I mean, that means hitting your physical gains. That means getting some deep work in, working in your school work or your business work without getting any distraction, and then reading books, seeking knowledge, stuff like this. Praying your salahs, being disciplined, following a routine. This is what people on my channel, subscribers on my channel, we do. We try to become warriors of Allah. We try to become disciplined individuals that don't want to live mediocre lives, right? So that's the goal. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to this channel to be in the movement. This is a movement of removing mediocrity out of the ummah, because we need to remove weakness out of the ummah. So hopefully it's benefited. I love you. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.